Hello, good morning. It is Morning Coffee with Steve, episode 219 for Thursday, November 14th, 2024. I'm Steve Saylor. This is your daily show of gaming news, accessibility news, or updates about my life. I have my iced coffee in my PlayStation mug today. If you would like to be able to get the audio version, the exclusive audio version sent to your podcast player of choice, email to become a paid supporter over at patreon.com/Steve Saylor. And you can be able to, get this on and listen to this on any podcast app that you like. And you don't have to watch this as a video. I appreciate it if you watch it as a video. Speaking of which, if you want to be able to continue to support me, click the subscribe button and also the like button, and leave some comments. It'd be nice. Anywho, all right. So today, y'all, I'm still in that I need some sleep mode because I slept in once again today. I don't know what it was. Last night, I woke up in the middle of the night. I had to cough really bad, and that's what woke me up. And then I couldn't get back to sleep for like another hour. And I was like in the middle of the night. It's now like two nights in a row that I haven't been able to get a good night's sleep, and I'm tired. I'm really tired, but I'm here now, and that's what's important. So. Anywho, let's just jump right into the news. I've got nothing else to be able to say. So this one actually has a bit of an accessibility angle to it. I'll get to it in a sec. But first up, Atomfall, dubbed British Fallout, has a March 2025 release date. Atomfall launches March 27, 2025. Developer Rebellion has announced. Oh, by the way, this is coming from Wesleyan Pool over at IGN. That's across PC via Steam and the Epic Games Store, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and straight into Game Pass. This is pretty awesome. I didn't even realize it was going to be on Game Pass. Dubbed British Fallout. I love that. Atomfall tasks players with solving the mystery of what happened at the Windscale nuclear power station in the aftermath, of a nuclear disaster. Here's the official blurb. To solve this, you will need to navigate military encampments, delve through abandoned bunkers below ground, and risk your life in pagan ruins. Central to the dark mystery is the host of eccentric characters and cryptic organizations that inhabit the quarantine zone. These individuals have been cut off from the outside world for years and left to their own devices, so are anything but normal. But be careful, they aren't all friendly, and you will need to get to grips with an array of ranged and melee weapons if you are to survive. The new trailer below is designed to showcase the Atomfall folk horror influences and the Casterfell Woods location. There's a burning pyre, an unsettling wicker man, numerous fallen bodies, and a ringing telephone box that needs to be answered. Let's watch that trailer, shall we?
Get rated.
We got a decaying Rebellion logo. Oop.
The woods are dark, and the woods lie deep. And the woods are home to summers don't sleep.
Oh yeah, this is creepy as hell.
So sit thee down and hear me tell of the woods that stand.
I think this is the creepiest version of a folk song I've ever heard in my life. And yeah, why is a random phone box just ringing in the middle of the woods? Oh, I heard that. What was that? Oh, jeez!
Must die.
Okay. Yep, this is going to be creepy. And it's coming on March 27th, 2025. Make sure to pre-order now. Great. Sorry if the video kind of was cut off in the middle of this. It's the way I've got my OBS set up. Anywho, but there is some good news for accessibility. For those who are disabled and want to be able to play this game, Atomfall actually released the accessibility in Atomfall blog post. I know it's kind of hard to be able to read the title, but that's what it says in there. Accessibility in Atomfall. So, a survival action game inspired by real-life events. Atomfall is set 5 years after the Windscale nuclear disaster in northern England. Explore the fictional quarantine zone, scavenge, craft, barter, fight, and talk your way through a British countryside setting filled with bizarre characters, mysticism, cults, and rogue government agencies. From Rebellion, the studio behind Sniper Elite and Zombie Army, Atomfall will challenge you to solve the dark mystery of what really happened, but what do we have in store for accessibility? Well, they've got a bunch of stuff. They have, for motor, in the motor category, auto move and traversal. Atomfall will feature robust automatic forward movement and automatic traversal. That's awesome. Automatic fire and reload. Ooh, we've introduced more powerful options to automate fire and reloading in Atomfall. By default, a gun will blank fire for a few rounds before reloading, but with automatic reload turned on, your guns will reload without the need for a button press as soon as it is empty, provided you have ammo to do so. Our automatic fire option provides a way to have gunfire at its maximum rate by holding the fire button rather than through repeated button presses. Okay, so this is similar to what basically they did in Destiny, where in any basically like a scout rifle, where you basically have to constantly hit the fire button in order to be able to fire. This basically this option turns any gun into an auto fire or automatic weapon. So you basically just hold down on the fire button and it'll just basically keep firing, which is great. That actually is pretty cool. Snap aiming. Atomfall will feature snap aiming. When hovering over targets with snap aiming turned on, the camera will snap to that target and follow their movement. The aim, oh, that's actually pretty good. Normally, usually snap aiming just kind of like locks on and then it kind of, it doesn't necessarily move. Like, it's kind of like one of those, if you ever play a game where if you're in behind cover and then you use the ADS and it automatically locks onto an enemy, and then it just sort of like initially, but then it loses its aiming functionality, or loses it like that snap specifically. It's not magnetic, let's just say. And then so basically I would do that. I would go from cover to aim and then fire a few times and then go back into cover and then use aiming to basically to kind of snap it again. So this is going to follow their movement, which is great. The aim can be snapped off by using the mouse, thumbstick, or exiting aim down sights. Love that. Melee aim assist. Aim assist is provided independently for both aim down sights and hip fire. We also provide melee assistance to help reduce the accuracy needed to land melee hits. Love that. We have 4 options for melee assistance, ranging from moving and rotating the player down to landing the hit when in range without any moving or rotating of the player. That's actually going to be pretty good, because I would imagine you're probably going to have a lot more melee weapons than you are ranged weapons. So the fact that that's also going to lock on essentially, and without any required like specificity or precise aiming, this is actually pretty cool. There's going to be controller remapping, which support rebinding to multiple devices so that they can be used together. Ooh, okay, so that's actually more for like Copilot or for like adaptive controllers. Remapping will support up to 4 keys to be bound to each action, and for most actions, the player can set whether they are a tap or short hold. This allows players to set up a control scheme where fewer buttons are used by being able to double up actions on a single button through tap for one, short or hold for another. Love that. That's actually, we haven't really seen a lot of. Where basically if you hit like say if you hit A on the controller, if you tap it, it's going to do an action. If you hold it, it's going to do another action. So multiple actions per button. Love that. It's going to be really great for keyboards, for mouse and keyboard players. Controls accessibility. Atomfall's default control scheme supports no holds or simultaneous inputs with no need for specific preset. This means with just a single toggle, you can remove all the holds in the game without any of the controls moving. Love that. Visual audio assisted aiming. Atomfall features audio assisted aim, which will allow players without sight or with limited vision to be able to more fully experience gunplay and combat. The audio based aim is made up of a 3-layer system, the first of which goes hand in hand with our new snap aiming. Snap aiming will feature the options off, on, and on with cues. On with cues means that there are unique audio cues played when snapping on and off an enemy. This helps to give players audio indication of whether they're snapped on a target. The second element of aim-assisted audio is our aiming cues. These aiming cues are a sound which will be played at different pitches and frequencies depending on how close to the target you're aiming. This allows players to better judge how close they are to a target using audio feedback. The system uses frequency, how often the sound is played, to show horizontal proximity, and uses pitch to show vertical proximity. These cues are also changed to give you an indication of when you are over your target. That's cool. So this actually seems to be like a play on what Sea of Thieves have done in regards to their aiming, because they use audio cues. I think they also use haptic feedback for that as well. But being able to like use audio cues to know where to aim, that's going to be huge. So I think so. It seems as if they're kind of doing it on a horizontal and vertical, and it uses a different pitch for each audio pitch for each one to let you know where to aim, like left and right. That'll be a different pitch, and up and down it'll be for a different pitch. So that's going to be pretty interesting to try out. Finally, the last element of audio-assisted aim is our persistent enemy audio. When activated, a player can attach a looping piece of audio to every enemy in the game. This means players can tell where the enemies are around them through sound alone, and allows them to engage in melee combat through audio. Each of these 3 features can be enabled independently of each other or all together, allowing you to fine-tune the experience to your needs. Love all of that. That is great. I would love to see how this plays in action, especially as a first-person game, because this could have really, really cool implications for, or like at least a good examples that other games could be able to potentially use for accessibility in other first-person titles. Love that. And there's also auto center view. After a second of inactivity on the look stick, the view is automatically centered vertically. Love that. There's text scaling and contrast, color blindness by design, color customization. There's even allowed you to be able to choose a custom color for certain UI elements. There's interaction cues to give players with low or no vision and more agency. We've introduced the option to have audio cues for basic interactions in the game, such as opening doors and stealth takedowns. Love that. Cognitive, there's navigational assistance, and where you find yourself navigating an unknown world where you will often feel unsure of where you've come from or where you're going. However, to help players that may need a little extra assistance or guidance, we provide accessibility options to toggle visibility of waypoint markers and compass on the HUD. Okay, I'd be very curious to see how that is. I mean, I'm wondering if there's any audio cue to that, because that I'd be very interested about for navigational assistance. So it doesn't sound like that it's a... Yeah, I definitely understand why it's in cognitive and not necessarily in visual. Because if there's no audio cue specifically, that may be the reason why. So the navigational assistance we normally see for blind gamers, that it'll be audio cues to let you know where you need to go. This may or may not have that, because if they're not mentioning specifically audio, that may be the only drawback to it. But you have to kind of like play it and see and take a look. There's also lead hints, stamps. What's this? Atomfall's maps are large and full of things to explore. Our stamps feature allows players to mark locations on the map using 8 different icons. Okay, all right, that's cool. So basically kind of like your own custom waypoints. Motion sickness support. They've got options to be able to reduce motion sickness, including camera bob, camera shake, and camera sensitivity. They'll also provide FOV slider from 50 to 120 degrees. And an option to set an FPS cap at 30, 60, 90, or 120 frames, and a toggle for motion blur. We've introduced an option to adjust recoil and sway of ranged weapons to help steady the player camera if needed. There's pausing options, so you can be able to pause the game, play styles, to adjust combats. Oh, it's basically kind of custom difficulty, but adjust combat, survival, and exploration options in the game to build experience that they enjoy. There's also audio active and background SFX sliders. Okay, that's good. Sound effects accessibility by design. And features a wide range of audio cues for each unique pickup, action, and enemy, helping players to move clearly, to more clearly gain information through audio. Enemy icons. Oh, this is actually important. Other important notes. There are no plans for menu narration or audio world navigation in Atomfall. Okay, so that goes back to what I was talking about, navigational assist. So it looks like that one is not going to have audio for it. Let me reread this paragraph again. There are no plans for menu narration or audio world navigation in Atomfall, and we expect that some players will best experience Atomfall through Copilot. There are no plans for closed captions for sound effects, though we have clear subtitles and have considered visual feedback where possible. For more information, FAQs can be found here in our help center. Okay, all right. See, I love this a lot. Because essentially, more importantly, this last paragraph here, because not often we see the studios saying, "Hey, this is what we've got, but this is also what we don't have," and because every studio is new to, like, it has different journeys as far as accessibility. There are a lot of buy-in for a studio in order to be able to get accessibility on board. Everyone knows accessibility is important, but how to be able to implement it and also getting everyone bought into accessibility is hard. It is extremely hard. And unless you have a team that can be able to do that, it's the less amount of champions you have on a team, including champions that are higher up, it is like pushing a huge boulder uphill. So to be able to not only say, hey, we are dedicated to accessibility, but there are certain things we weren't able to be able to do within this game, and menu narration and audio world navigation, and also closed captions is something they couldn't be able to do. That's not necessarily like they are actively ignoring blind players or deaf and hard of hearing players in this. It's just a lot of things, a lot of technical reasons, resource availability, people power, whatever it could be. There could be a lot of reasons why these things won't exist in a game. And I applaud Rebellion for at least being able to talk about this openly and be transparent about this, because it gives players a choice that they can, like, purchasing power. It's like, okay, I after reading all this, I don't think I'm gonna be able to play it. Now I know not to be able to play it. And that is, yes, it's disappointing, but I think as well, this could also be a good learning opportunity that if you do play this game and you do find it difficult to play and you do need something like menu narration or audio world navigation or closed captions, then you can be able to send that feedback to Rebellion and they may be able to potentially add it on as a future update post-launch, or they could use that feedback going into their next project. Believe me when I tell you this, if you are a blind player or any disabled player specifically, if you want to be able to get developers to be able to add these things that you need, that we all need, you do not want to be negative and just saying like this game sucks. You're ignoring disabled players. No, the best thing you can do is just say, I would love to be able to play this. I can do this, but I can't do this. Giving constructive feedback is so powerful in a studio, because if those who care about accessibility in the studio, the champions that are available, like, actually, I'm gonna go full screen for this. The champions that are at studios that are actively pushing for accessibility, getting feedback from players that they can bring to the team or to their higher ups is so much more powerful. It's like in essence, it's giving ammo to those champions to be like, see, this is something that's important, because sometimes they need that player feedback in order to be like, oh yeah, we need this. Sometimes you do not know how powerful your voice can be if you are able to give constructive feedback. So yes, while it is disappointing that this game will not be able to have menu narration or audio world navigation or even closed captions, but if these things are important to you, don't just yell at the developers. Don't just yell at Rebellion being like, why aren't you doing this? That does nothing. Giving constructive feedback, being like, I need this in order to be able to play. I would love to be able to see this in future projects. I can play if you get the game, be like, I can play it with this, but if you're able to do this, like, this is why I always encourage people, create a YouTube channel, create a Twitch stream, so that you can be able to show exactly what you can and can't play, because that is so much more powerful. That is ammo that the champions within studios can use to help them help you get this stuff into these games. I can't tell you the amount, and this is not to brag about my own stuff. I can't tell you the amount of times I've heard from studios, from developers, that because of my content, my videos, and my Twitch streams, what have you, that they have been actively used as examples and comments from the community that they can use to be able to push for more accessibility. We need more of that. Like what I was talking about with my video from a couple weeks ago about why, you're not really blind. I am sick and tired of the toxicity and the toxic comments that are from this industry or from people within the accessibility community. We need to stop that. Accessibility takes time. Accessibility takes patience, and it is not everything is going to be The Last of Us straight out of the gate. Not everything is going to be fully accessible, but we have the power to be able to help those who are on the inside to help make changes internally so that they can be able to make their next game or their next project or their current project more accessible. This is not a time to be able to be toxic and yell at developers for not making their game more accessible to them. This is a time to be able to provide constructive feedback so that they can be able to continue the push for accessibility. Because I can guarantee, if all they hear is negative comments about accessibility, it's going to discourage every single developer on that team to be like, what's the point if we're just going to get yelled at anyway? So we got to stop with the, oh, and I've got a phone call, of course. We got to stop with the toxicity in this community. And I applaud Rebellion for putting this information out there. We need more of that from other studios. Not to say that we need to be able to, like, it uses as an excuse to be like, you know, we couldn't do the accessibility for this, so we just want to talk about it now, then they're off the hook. No, it means that they are making a statement that, hey, we can't do this for this project, and then they're opening up to let us know what we can be able to do to be able to help. We need, because developers are afraid of toxic comments. They're afraid of being able to talk about any accessibility. If you think you get met, like if you think you're angry about games are not releasing what the accessibility info is before a game launches, you know the reason why is because of toxic comments of whenever they mention something that they don't have. We need to switch that around. We need to be able to have studios be able to tell us what is going to be in the game, so that you can be able to make your purchasing decisions wisely. So you're not purchasing a game, finding out you can't play it because there was no accessibility info released, and then that makes it even worse because then you're having to be able to return the game and hopefully get a refund. So by Rebellion putting out this accessibility info and also this that little paragraph saying, "Hey, we can't have this for this game," that is an open opportunity for you as a disabled player to be like, hey, try the game if you want to. Give them like video evidence of like, this is what it's like for me. I can't play it, because that helps out the developers a lot, being able to see what it's like for you as to try to be able to play. But and also providing constructive feedback, being like, okay, I can play it because you were able to do these audio cues, blah 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 blah. But these things I couldn't be able to do because I couldn't understand the lore. I couldn't understand this. That is enough ammo that they could be able to, like, an accessibility champion on Rebellion's team can be able to go to their higher ups and be like, "Hey, this is feedback from the community. This is what we've been mentioning for quite a while. This is important." And that can usually turn people's minds around and put more in resources into accessibility. We need more of that. So stop with the toxic comments. That's all I'm going to say. You know what? Actually, I'm just going to leave that there. I was going to like go on to different the news stories of the day, but I feel like that I've ranted long enough. So today is a completely all accessibility episode for Atomfall. I highly encourage you to try it. If you think that any accessibility that's there is going to be great for you, definitely go pick it up, go pre-order it, because that helps out developers too. You have no idea how important pre-ordering is for a studio, or more specifically wishlisting a game on Steam, because wishlisting a game is just as powerful as pre-ordering. Yes, I know pre-ordering can be kind of iffy nowadays with special content or whatever, but and not being able to deliver because the game didn't launch well. I'm just wishlist it. Add it to your queue, add it to your whatever list. And if you want to pre-order it, go for it. Because we need I feel like that this studio is open to feedback for accessibility. And they need it. So, all right, that's going to be it for today. Apologies for the rant, but I feel like it was needed. So, there's that. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to be able to see more videos like this, please give it a subscribe to click the subscribe button. If you want the audio exclusive version of this show or of this episode, make sure to go and support me on patreon.com/Steve Saylor, so that you can be able to get this on any podcast player of your choice. All right, take care, have yourself a great day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.